Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters and guests. How's everybody like in San Diego?
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Tell you what, the easiest job in the whole world must be a weather forecaster in San Diego. 73 degrees and sunny every single day. I can tell you, this has been a lot better than my first trip to San Diego. First time I came out here to San Diego, I was in boot camp in the Navy. Boot camp will either make you or break you. To me, a little bit of both. It was traumatizing. You see, I was barely out of high school, and they fly me from Savannah, Georgia, all the way out here to San Diego, California. I'd never left home before. That was a little traumatizing. Then I've got this drill instructor yelling and screaming at me, calling me an idiot. That was traumatizing. Then they take me into this room. And this guy comes up and he shaves all my hair off. Believe it or not, that was traumatizing. It still hasn't grown back. My drill instructor was a persnickety guy. He was very intimidating. He'd yell and scream at us all the time. I remember the first weekend in boot camp. See, you don't get weekends off in boot camp. They need 7 days a week to convince you that you're an idiot. It works. Well, Sunday, he's got us out there doing drills and exercises. He's yelling and screaming at us all day long. But Sunday evening, he kind of gathers us around, and he's having this little kumbaya moment. And he starts telling us what the rest of boot camp is going to be like. And he starts telling us how great the real Navy is going to be once we get out of boot camp. Turns out it's a bunch of fake news. But he's having this moment with us, and he says, do any of you have any questions? You can ask me anything. There are no stupid questions. This is great. This is my opportunity. See, I'm a little bit homesick. And a lot of you parents are probably thinking, oh, it's great. He's missing his mom and dad. No, I was a teenage boy. I was missing my high school girlfriend. So I muster up all the courage I can. I say, excuse me, sir. When can we use the phone so we can call home? He looks over at me and says, Deason, I was wrong. That is a stupid question. Try to give me push-ups. Well, that was traumatizing. I never asked another question my entire time in boot camp. See, my drill instructor saw me asking that question as a sign of weakness. But I'm here today to tell you that questions can be a powerful tool to help you improve your performance. Because if we use better questions, we get better solutions, and we can achieve better results. As Raj just told you, you guys saw the first couple of sessions, and we learned about how to use better questions, why questions are important to us as leaders, how we can use what and how questions to get really good information. We learned about how to ask those questions and get people into creative problem-solving mode. Now we're going to talk about how we can use both questions and solutions to get better results. And to do this, I want to tell you something that happened at my firm this year. We had a client, we've been working with them for a long time. They have a closed landfill, and you have to do methane gas monitoring at closed landfills, and that's what we're doing. And this particular landfill had the methane gas monitoring points right up at the edge of the landfill. They should be way at the property line, but this one had it right at the edge of the landfill. We started getting methane exceedances in this one area. Well, methane is kind of funny. You can have an exceedance here, and 10 feet over, you have no exceedance at all. So our project manager started working on a pretty reasonable solution. He was going to move the methane monitoring points where they need to be. Simple and cost effective. That's usually what the client wants. But this time, this particular client wanted something completely opposite. He actually wanted complex and expensive. Let me tell you a little bit about the personalities I was dealing with. Our client is a little bit hard-headed, and he doesn't communicate things very well. If you're sitting in a meeting with him, he's pretty harsh. And our project manager, He's got a lot of professionalism. He's got a lot of pride in his work. He doesn't like to change things. And he can be kind of hard-headed as well. So, if you got two people, hard-headed people working together on the same solution, it's unstoppable. Unfortunately, that's not the situation we had. These guys are button heads. So we get our project team together in the conference room. We're all sitting around the table trying to come up with a solution that meets what the client wants. And in order for if we're going to come up with a solution, we've got to have our project manager, because he's the methane guy. And we're getting nowhere because our project manager is still stuck over here in hard-head mode. He doesn't understand why the client wants this complex, expensive solution for such a simple problem. So we're getting nowhere until somebody said, well, if we had to reduce the methane in this area, how would we do it? How would we do it? Remember better questions? It's one of those what and how questions. Short, open-ended, simple questions. It got our project manager thinking. And he said, well, we could put some vents in here and relieve some of the pressure, or we could connect some pumps and literally pump the methane out of the landfill. The more he started to answer that simple how question, he started explaining how it could be done, and then he started believing that it could be done. That simple how question got him to thinking, and he actually took ownership of the solution. We were able to deliver exactly the solution that the client wanted. Ownership is important. If you are wanting to get better results, you've got to have your team have ownership of what you're trying to do. That's how you get them to come up with their own solution and get ownership in it. I'll give you another great example. My son, Sam, he's a high school. He's taking high school algebra last year, and he was struggling with his algebra class. Now, I was a little bit conflicted. As a dad, I was a little bit disappointed that he wasn't doing well. As an engineer, I was a little bit excited because I could finally help him with his schoolwork. So I started talking to him. I said, Sam, what's going on in math class? And he starts explaining to me how he's having trouble with algebra. And I said, well, you know, I'm an engineer. I went to Georgia Tech. In fact, I even graduated from Georgia Tech, believe it or not. I can help you with your math class. Without hesitation, he looks up at me and he says, Dad, it's advanced math. Are you kidding me? That little sucker. I said, Sam, do you realize when I was at Georgia Tech, I took 5 calculuses and differential equations. I think I could handle your high school algebra class. So he goes upstairs to get his algebra book. And he comes back down and says, so Sam, what are you having trouble with? He says, multiplying polynomials. The term multiplying polynomials didn't jump out at me. I couldn't exactly remember it. I'm sure that once I see it, I'll know it. I was wrong. I had no idea. I'm looking for the equal sign. You put things on one side of the equation, you got to do the opposite on the other side of the equation. How am I no equal sign? How am I supposed to solve for the unknown variable? Problem is, I couldn't let him know I didn't know what I was doing. So I did what anybody reasonable person would do. I looked in the back of the book. Remember when you were in school, they had the odd number problems in the back of the book? I looked back there, thinking, oh, sure, once I see the solution, I'll be able to do the problem. I was wrong again. And I still couldn't let him know. So I started using those SOS questions, those simple, open-ended, short questions. I said, so Sam, what do you think the first step is? He starts explaining to me. I said, so what are you going to do with this variable over here? And he starts explaining to me. Just like our project manager, the more he explained it to me, the more confidence he got. The more he came up with his own solution. eventually he came up with the right answer. I know this because of the back of the book. He took ownership of it. He was so excited. He says, Dad, let's go to problem 2. I said, wait a minute, let's stick to the odd number problem. If you are in a position of authority, you can tell somebody a solution, or you can tell them something they're doing wrong, and they might kind of, sort of, eventually get around to doing it. But if you ask questions and get them to come up with their own solution, they'll embrace it, and they'll work twice as hard to implement it. That's the power of ownership. You don't think ownership is important? When was the last time you washed a rental car? Try this at work. Try this at home. Next time you do employee evaluations, give this a try. If you can use questions to get your team to come up with their own solutions, I promise you they'll take more ownership and they'll deliver. They'll work twice as hard to implement it. That's how you use better questions to get better solutions and deliver better results. Okay, sure. This is my daughter Heather. She used to ask lots of questions. She used to wear me out. The only reason I had this slide in here was because she said if I show a picture of my son, I got to show a picture of my daughter. But she used to wear me out with questions. As kids, we ask a lot of questions. Some statistics say kids ask 100 to 200 questions a day. They ask so many questions it makes us parents want to pull our hair out. I'm living proof. But as we get older, we ask fewer and fewer questions. As leaders, we don't feel like we can ask questions because people have always come to us asking questions, expecting us to have all the answers. What I hope you've learned here today is that you can use questions to improve your performance. Because you can use better questions, what and how questions, to get really good information. Use short, open-ended, simple questions to uncover the creative thinking process. Use better questions, you get better solutions. That happens when you use a period less and a question mark more. Your brain kicks into creative problem-solving mode when you hear questions. When you hear statements, you start analyzing them. Then you get better solutions. If you take those questions and you get your team to come up with their own solutions, they'll work twice as hard to implement it, and that's how you achieve better results. Better questions, better solutions, better results. My drill instructor, when I was out here boot camp in San Diego, he thought my question was a stupid question. That probably wasn't very well timed. But he thought it was also a sign of weakness. And as leaders, sometimes we feel like we can't ask questions because we're supposed to have all the answers. But if you don't remember anything else about this entire presentation, remember this. Best leaders don't have all the answers. Best leaders have the best questions. Toastmasters.